This is the brand new Ford Transit, and for the past couple of years it's been involved in what I would describe as a titanic struggle at the top of the best-selling lists between it and the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. Now for me, both of those vans occupy polar opposites in the large van sector. On the one hand, you've got the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, which is the premium luxury large van. And on the other side, you've got this, the Ford Transit, which in my mind is the all-round package. It's price competitive, it's reliable, it's got great engines, a great cabin, a great loading bay, and it's basically one of the perfect ways to get your foot on the ladder that is the large van sector. So what do you say we crack it open and give it its very own Vanarama road test? Now before we get going, I just wanted to say that I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notified whenever we post new content just like this. And if you are in the market for a brand new van, car or pickup truck, don't forget to head to vanarama.com and check out the leasing deals. Now with all that said and done, let's start at the front where we always do. The front end of the Ford Transit has had a bit of a facelift recently, and it's still got that nice big grille and the black bumpers. They're all here, they're all present and correct, but actually one of the most obvious places to spot the facelift is on the grille itself. Now in the old version, these little points were just a little bit lower. It's almost as if the grille's been turned upside down and put back on the vehicle. At limited trim level and above, you get this nice chrome detailing, so if you are looking for one of the sort of higher trim levels, keep an eye out for this chrome detailing right here. That's a dead giveaway. If I track round, I can show you some other bits that they've added to the front. Look at this, you've got fog lights down here. That's always great to see. And I've got to say, these headlights are looking better than ever. I do like the way that they sweep around the front of the vehicle and they come to these nice points. Check out as well, this is quite a high version of the Ford Transit, but that windscreen is the same size no matter what version you go for. It's absolutely massive and you get really great visibility out of it. Now, let's head around the side of the vehicle so I can show you the wheels and other bits. Running all the way down the side of the Ford Transit is this nice big black bumper, and that's just there to give you a little bit of peace of mind. If someone opens their car door or their van door just a little bit too close to your vehicle, hopefully that is going to take the brunt of the impact, not your lovely metalwork. And speaking of the metalwork, just take a look at the size of the real estate you've got here to put your business branding on. Even with a slightly shorter vehicle, this one is actually just a little bit shorter, and actually if you want a longer one, do remember to ask, because the length of a vehicle can make or break how you use it and whether it actually works for your business. But as I was saying, look, you can stick your logo here, you can stick your phone numbers and stuff here, all your contact details, do whatever you like to make it work for you. Now before we head round to the back, because we are going to the back next, I just wanted to point out the steel wheels. Now they are great, tough and durable. They're hidden behind hubcaps as well, just to give them a little bit of extra cover and make them look a little bit more like alloys. Now just a word on that, I mean, I love alloy wheels, but I just think in the large van sector, they're too easy to scuff up. These need to be tough, durable, so steel wheels are always the way to go. So there you go, there's the side of the vehicle. Let's head round to the back. Now the back end of the Ford Transit is probably just as imposing as the side of it. I mean, just look at the size of these doors. They're absolutely huge, which gives you massive accessibility to your loading bay. Now before I open up the doors and show you how they work, just check out the reverse parking sensors on the back bumper here. They work with the front parking sensors, which are on the front of the vehicle at the limited trim level and above. Very useful, gives you a nice sonar display of how close you are to things. Really useful for backing in and out of tight spaces and unloading various bits and bobs and making sure that everything is nice and safe. It's great to have that kind of peace of mind that you won't hit something, and that's all thanks to these reverse parking sensors. Okay, so back doors. Got a 50-50 split. They both open up to 90 degrees as normal, and then if you disengage the door lock here, and here you go, that's both doors open up to their full 180 degrees. Now one of the things I really like about these particular door locks is that actually if you've got this one or that one open at 90 degrees, you can use this slider to lock them into place so that if the wind picks up, they're not going to be blown open. However, the locks are disengaged when they're open at 180, so if the wind does pick up, just be aware that that door and that door, they might just close slightly. Okay, you know, the reason I really like these buttons actually is just because of this metalwork here. You don't really want to be touching this if you can help it. Having to touch that instead, much easier. Now I'm just going to step up into the loading bay to show you what it's like in there. And here we are. Now you'll no doubt have heard a squeak as my trainer hit the floor in here, and that's because not only is this vehicle ply lined, which is something you get free when you lease a vehicle from Vanarama, it's also plastic lined on the loading bay floor, which is really great. I mean, not only is it tough and durable, but it's also wipe clean. Now, check out the wheel arches as well. Now, usually in big vans like this or other vans, when they're ply lined, they box them off, but actually these ones have some of that nice plastic lining as well, and there's even a lashing point above each one. Now, just on lashing points, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down each side, and the longer the vehicle you choose, the more lashing points you'll get, just to help you secure your load in nice and safe. Now, all the dimensions, the lengths, the widths, the heights, all those maximums are going to be flying around me at the moment, but I just want to take a moment to say, check out that payload. This vehicle is one of the heaviest lifting in the large van sector at the moment. So it is absolutely fantastic. Whatever you need to carry, whatever you need to get in here, depending on the length and height of the vehicle you choose, you'll be able to fit it in. Now, the Ford Transit has gone through many iterations in its lifetime, but one of the places it hasn't ever compromised is the loading bay. It's flexible, reliable, durable, it's well lit. What's not to like? So, with all that done, let's head round to the cabin. I'll just get these doors all nice and shut up so I can show you one of the best places on the Ford Transit. Hang on. Okay, right, so before we get to the cabin, I just wanted to show you the side sliding door. Now, not only is it really nice and tall, it also opens very easily, and it is way wide enough for you to be able to slide in a Euro pallet in and out from the side. And you can choose the back door to do that if you want as well, but it's just great to know that this loading bay is really one of the best and most accessible on the market right now. Okay, so with that done, now let's head to the cabin. So here we are in the cabin of the brand new Ford Transit, and I've got to say, this is a place where the updates are really, really obvious. I mean, you'll no doubt have noticed this massive, great big monolithic screen in the middle here. Now that is Ford's Sync 3 infotainment system, and I'll get onto that pretty shortly just so I can show you around it, because this is one of the really best infotainment systems on the market right now. So, first impressions. Well, as you can see in this particular one, we've got a single passenger seat and a single driver's seat. I've got to say, the driver's seat is very nice and comfortable. Ford do good cabins, so this is a good cabin. It's also got an armrest, which is really nice, and that just sort of ratchets into place, and you can stick it wherever you want so that you can feel like a gangster when you're driving it. I'm just going to move it out of the way so it doesn't get in my way while I'm showing you around. Okay, so Ford steering wheels. Yep, they know how to do good steering wheels. This is a very nice sort of pleather steering wheel with nice bit of sponge and grip to it. It's got controls on both sides. This is your speed limiter up here, and you've also got some volume controls on this side, and you've got your voice control, skip, phone settings, and your multifunctional information display controls are right here on the right hand side as well. It's a great steering wheel. It's in a really good position. I really like it. Now, just down here, I've got two things I want to show you. You've got these two dials. Now, the one on the left, just down here on the right, just to confuse you, is the one that you control your headlights and all your lighting functions from. The one just to the right of it is the selector switch for you to move your door mirrors around, because they are electrically adjustable, which is really great. It means you don't have to tinker around with both sides, you know, all those. But one of the things I used to hate about old cars was when you had just like a little toggle that you had to sort of you know, you had to move it around, and it was really tough to, forget it. Just electrically adjustable door mirrors, that's all I want. That's all I want in life. But no one will give it to me apart from Ford. So well done, Ford, and of course all the other vans that have electrically adjustable door mirrors. Anyway, behind the steering wheel, you've got some very cool dashboard instrumentation. Ford, again, are very good at this because it's all nice and clear. It's kind of a black background with white writing, and all your warning lights, they just light up the area behind your steering wheel, which is really great. So you're never trying to look and, you know, peer and paw. You can just see it straight away. There's also a very small driver information display down here, and that shows you all the things you kind of expect to see, such as range, how much diesel you've got left in the tank, all that kind of stuff. It's all right there, very clear and very precise. Now, you've got a nice big cup holder on the driver's side and the passenger side. Ford do good interiors, and their cup holders are some of my favorite on the market, so you get them in here and that is great. Above the dashboard instrumentation, you've actually got, you know, some storage bins. You've got some on the driver's side, some on the passenger, and one just above this screen right here as well. Now, lion bars, you're gonna fit about sort of 7 in the one in front of you, probably 9 or 10 in the one in the middle, and another 7 on that side over there. But in front of the driver, you've not only got a 12-volt socket, you also have a USB socket up here as well. So if you've got a device that you want to plug in and charge and just leave up there, you can do. That's absolutely up to you. Very, very useful. Now, just as we move along the dashboard, just to this infotainment screen over here, you do have another little kind of cubby hole sort of storage basin. It's very small. I'm going to say probably 2 lion bars. It's not massive, but you know, you'll find something to stick in there, a lighter, change, maybe a set of keys or Allen keys or something like that. You do what you want with it. It's your van at the end of the day. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life or what to use your storage for. Okay, so if I just flick the key round in the ignition, the infotainment screen will come on. Here we go, there's that lovely big Ford logo, and we got a little ping there just to say that we need to fuel up, because of course we've been driving it around all day. So there we go, now the infotainment system's all loaded, I can show you around it. Okay, so this is on audio right now, and at the moment I've got it selected to play DAB, but if you hook up a phone through Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or you just use the USB socket down here, you can basically listen to any music or audio that's been played from your phone straight through onto your system right here, which is really great. So this was DAB, but it does also connect up through Bluetooth, as I said. If you do connect your phone up, you've got your phone settings right here, and this is where you can, answer calls, you can check your recent calls, you can check your messages if you want to. It's all right here, very easy to use. And as I said, some of the controls over here are mirrored on the controls on your steering wheel right here. You've also got a load of mobile apps that you can upload to here. There's none on here right now, but if you've got any mobile apps that you want to stick onto this system, this is fully capable of taking them and absolutely running with them. The settings screen is also really, really full. You've got all your audio settings, clock, Bluetooth, your phone, radio, basically everything that you want the infotainment system to do, you fiddle around with right here. And it's very easy to swipe through so that you can get to your emergency assistance settings, vehicle settings, and in fact, if you've got Android Auto, for instance, you can affect its settings and preferences from right here as well. It's really useful. I mean, Ford have worked very hard to make sure that the Sync 3 does everything that an infotainment system should do and more. And I think it's one of the best on the market. Now, just below that screen, you've got your climate control settings, you've got your fan speed over here and your temperature dial over there, and all of your sort of directional inputs and screen demisting settings are all available right there. There is something that I really like to see, is a hazard light button all on its own, because hazards are one of those things that you don't want to be poking around through other buttons for. I like the fact that Ford mount it on its own, kind of nice. It's almost rubberized right here. It's just a kind of a nice feely place to put it, because, you know, as I said, you don't want to go scrabbling around trying to find it. Boom, on they go, and they make that lovely little Ford. Love that sound. It's one of the hallmarks of a Ford vehicle. The gear stick sits on this little console right here, which I would say, like the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter and several other large vans, is actually in a really nice place. It sits just, you know, a few inches away from your knee, and there's no kind of, you know, worrying about sort of bashing your knee against this console either, because if you're sitting like I do when I drive, you've actually got a couple of inch clearance right there, which is great to see. Now, just below that is one of my favorite features in Ford vans. It's the fold-out cup holder. I did say that Ford do some of the best cup holders on the market, and this is one of my favorite purely because, you've got to love that fold-out action. Now, just to the left of the gear stick, you've got a nice little storage area, which is just about the right size for, you know, I would say lion bars, but actually look, if you've got your manual folder, that will fit in there quite nicely as well, if you don't want to stash it in the glove box. Now, just before I move on to the glove box, I've just flicked down the lid on the 12-volt socket right there. I like the fact that it's got a little hinged door right there. Very nice and useful, keeps it covered. You've got a nice little sort of storage area right here. That actually does have a rubberized bottom, and I like rubberized bottoms. And below that is your glove box, which is slightly more generous than several other large vans on the sector right now. It's quite nice and deep. It hasn't actually lost too much storage, because right next to it, left-hand side, is another drinks bottle holder. I did say Ford know how to do cabins. There's a big drinks holder down there, and there's a big drinks holder down on the driver's side as well. And so there you go. I mean, apart from door storage, which is also generous, there's not much else to say except for, oh, let's look up. Yes, there's some overhead storage. You've got some overhead storage above the driver's side and the passenger side, and you've got two kind of letterbox sized openings up here as well, which are really nice just to be able to slide things in and out. And, oh, mercy me, both of these have rubberized bottoms, and you know how much I love a rubberized bottom. So there you go. Ford have done a great job updating the interior of the Ford Transit. I think it's really a 21st century van now. It just feels like everything's coming together. And I mean, if you wanted tech, Ford Sync 3 entertainment system, as I said, one of the best on the market. So there we go. Right, let's get this thing on the road and go for a drive. The overall experience of driving a Ford Transit is, well, a marked difference to just standing on the outside of it and showing you round. Actually, once the key is in the ignition and you're out on the road, it just feels like a different kettle of fish to maybe other large vans that are available on the market right now. While it's true to say that the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter is, you know, a cut of luxury, a little slice of, you know, premium large van, the Ford Transit is such a good all-rounder that I always stick it at the top of my list. Whenever anyone says to me, which large van would you recommend? I always say Ford Transit or Mercedes-Benz Sprinter if you want to pay a premium for a bit more luxury and all that sort of stuff. But I've got to say, the cabin and sitting in it, especially while you're driving, is very comfortable. There's very minimal movement. You feel like the suspension is working well to keep you, you know, nice and still. There's nothing worse than getting in the front of a large van, sticking the seatbelt into the lock and just kind of getting going, and then every corner you take you find yourself sliding from one side of your seat to the other. I've got to say, the Ford Transit never makes you feel like that. In fact, it feels like you're sitting in the front of a Ford Fiesta. Just taking those corners, you just slide round them. There's no issue. Roundabouts are no hassle. And I think a large part of what makes Ford vans so good at the moment is the engine. Okay, so in my opinion, two of the big reasons why Ford vans continue to outsell the competition is car-like comfort and a car-like drive. And one of the big reasons why they are able to provide both of those is thanks to the 2-litre EcoBlue diesel engines that are under the bonnet of the Ford Transit Custom and the big Ford Transit. If memory serves, the 2-litre EcoBlue diesel engine was first put into the Ford Transit Custom, which kind of makes sense because 2 litres feels like the right engine size for a medium van, especially nowadays. I mean, you could argue that the Ford Transit Custom is the very reason why medium vans actually exist and are so popular these days, but I digress. The large van, the Ford Transit, now also has the 2-litre EcoBlue diesel engine and, you know, benefits in spades from its excellent running costs, power outputs, and just general ROI. If you lease a vehicle with a 2-litre EcoBlue diesel engine in it, you know that you're going to get your money's worth. It will not make your wallet creak open or feel any pain. In the particular version of the Ford Transit I'm driving today, it's got a 6-speed gearbox, and that is mated to that 2-litre EcoBlue diesel engine, and it just goes together to make a very controllable and easy to drive vehicle. You've got to give Ford credit for knowing what it takes to make a good van. And just to kind of show you what this engine is capable of, I'm going to take it down onto the road that the locals affectionately call Ladies Mile, just to show you kind of from the front camera what the speed is like. Okay, so here we go. We are on Ladies Mile. Now, I'm just going to wait until there's a little bit of a gap up ahead. Okay, here we go. Knock it down into third. Here's all the power. As you can feel, power surging forward up to 60 miles an hour on this de-restricted road, and I'm in fourth. There's bags of power. There's another cyclist. Watch out for you. And round that car. And there's another cyclist. Okay, so I've obviously shown you enough there of what this vehicle is capable of. I mean, what's got to be apparent from that is that it's actually highly manoeuvrable at high speeds as well. I mean, that might just be the fact that this is one of the shorter wheelbase versions of the vehicle, so it's a little bit easier to tuck into those corners. But even the longer ones, I've never had any trouble with them. I've got to say, visibility is also quite improved. I'm at a very tricky intersection right here, and when I was in the Vauxhall Movano very recently, it was very, very hard to see past where the bulkhead comes into the cabin. But in the Ford Transit, I have very good visibility. I've got to say, that's really confidence inspiring. It's nice to know that when you're trying to pull out of a really awkward turning that you can actually see what's coming, because the last thing you want to do is pull out by accident or even try and test it by very slowly sort of edging out. And you don't want someone going into the front of the vehicle. I mean, you don't want to cause an accident or an obstruction. So how do you solve that? You have good visibility, you make good use of it. There you go, another tick in the box for the Ford Transit. So, how do we finish this one? Well, in my opinion, the latest version of the Ford Transit is by far and away the best. And that's, that's saying something when you consider that its main rival is the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, the premium large van that everyone just keeps going on about. But I would say that the Ford Transit is the all-round package. The engine is superb. The loading bay is absolutely fantastic, reliable and flexible, and the cabin, now it's been updated and now it packs the excellent Ford Sync 3 infotainment system, is one of the best on the market. So there you go. Your choice, it seems, is between the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter and the Ford Transit. And for most people, their search for a large van will start with the Ford Transit, and I genuinely believe that for many of them, it'll end right here. And that's it.